What if I told you that what you've been calling luck might actually be the biggest self-deception of your life? That nothing, absolutely nothing that happened by chance was actually random? Do you really think it was just a coincidence that you met that person at the exact right moment? That you found that book, had that idea, picked up your phone and came across this video? It wasn't. That's the collective unconscious at work, nudging you, guiding you, sending you signs from the universe that you keep ignoring, because it's easier to say, "It was just luck," than to accept that something much greater is trying to reach you. The truth is, you've never been alone. There's an invisible network, an ancient intelligence that connects all of us. Carl Jung didn't just believe that, he proved it. And if you've followed along this far, there's already something inside you that recognizes these truths. Something that resonates, gives you chills and whispers, "There's something here." But why do these synchronicities increase when you get closer to your purpose? Why do certain patterns repeat themselves just as you're about to change everything? In this video, you'll find out. And once you do, you'll never look at your life the same way again. Luck is a sophisticated disguise we use to avoid facing just how much we're being guided by something logic can't explain. It's more comfortable to believe everything was just a twist of fate than to admit there's an intelligence working behind the coincidences. But what if that job that came out of nowhere, that phone call at just the right moment, or even that forgotten book on your shelf that gave you exactly the answer you needed, weren't random at all? What if all of it was part of an invisible field that connects minds, emotions, and intentions? The very thing Carl Jung called the collective unconscious. And more than that, what if this field has been trying to guide you all along, but you've been calling the signs luck? The truth is, the collective unconscious doesn't shout, it whispers. It shows up in repeating patterns, in universal symbols, in dreams that feel more vivid than waking life. It doesn't arrive with flashing neon signs, it hides in the details, like seeing the same numbers over and over, or hearing the same phrase from different people. These signals from the universe are like sparks, trying to ignite something within you. But as long as you keep labeling everything as luck, you ignore the fact that your soul is trying to connect with something far greater. And no, this isn't cheap mysticism, it's deep psychology. If you want to break free from the illusion, start treating coincidences as messages. Write them down, watch for patterns, feel what repeats and what stands out. Try asking the universe a simple question before bed, and pay attention to what shows up the next day. Yes, it takes courage. Because once you accept that you're not alone on this journey, that your experiences are echoes of the collective unconscious, you stop waiting for luck and start decoding the signal. But to do that, you need to understand who Jung was and why he believed our inner symbols are actually universal messages waiting to be read. Carl Jung didn't want you to believe in him. He wanted you to pay attention to yourself. Instead of seeking ready-made answers outside, he pointed inward, toward the symbols that shape not only your personal story, but also the story of humanity. According to Jung, these symbols are part of the collective unconscious, a reservoir of images, archetypes, and experiences that span generations and cultures, silently shaping how we see the world. And the most fascinating part? They're still alive, showing up in your dreams, your gut feelings, and even in the coincidences that give you chills. You know, that strange dream that felt more meaningful than any conversation you've had in months? Or that recurring image that keeps showing up in your life, a certain animal, a number, a figure. Jung called these archetypes, symbolic patterns that don't belong just to you, but to all of us. They aren't just memories or products of your mind, they're guides. Messages from the universe trying to remind you of something you already know but have forgotten. It's as if the collective unconscious is a living library, and each symbol is a bookmarked page, waiting to be revisited at the right moment. If you want to connect with this deep wisdom, try what Jung called active imagination. Sit in silence, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and invite a symbol that's been appearing in your life. Maybe it's the animal from your dream or the figure that keeps crossing your path. Talk to it. Ask what it wants to show you. Write down the response without judgment. It might feel strange at first, but this isn't magic. It's about listening to the voice of the collective unconscious. A force that doesn't just understand you, it knows you better than you know yourself. And once you start listening, those coincidences begin to multiply. There are moments when everything falls into place so perfectly, it feels like a movie script. You think of someone, and they text you. You're torn about a decision, and suddenly, a song plays with lyrics that answer your question word for word. Coincidence? Not at all. Jung called this synchronicity, when external events and internal states align with uncanny precision, as if the universe is co-writing your story in real time. And here's the wild part. The more attention you pay, the more synchronicities start to happen. It's as if the collective unconscious is saying, finally, you're listening. These moments aren't luck. They're meeting points between you and something much greater. Like the universe nudging you with signs so obvious, you can't ignore them. When you're aligned with your essence, not the noise of the world, this collective field starts responding. It speaks through symbols, patterns, and people who show up right when they need to. And if this all sounds too far out, maybe you just need to remember that time when everything seemed to go wrong, until it went exactly right. That wasn't random. That was the invisible code at work, silently orchestrating. To strengthen this connection, start keeping a synchronicity journal. Dedicate a notebook just for that. Write it all down, repeating numbers, chance encounters, unexpected advice. Over time, you'll begin to see a thread running through these moments, and that thread leads back to you. It's the collective unconscious working behind the scenes, arranging meetings, messages, and paths. And when you really get this, life stops feeling like a series of random events and starts to reveal itself as a dance between what you feel and what the universe delivers. The question is, have you realized yet that you're being guided by something greater? Some answers don't come in words. They show up as gut feelings. That sense that something's off, the sudden chill, the déjà vu that stops you in your tracks. Most people ignore it, but these are ways the collective unconscious whispers that there's more going on. When you keep seeing the same numbers every day or hear the same phrase from different people, it's not paranoia. They're signs from the universe reminding you that reality isn't as random as it seems. There's an intelligence orchestrating encounters, messages, and even obstacles, all to align you with your true path. It's like the universe is a silent GPS. You might not see the whole map, but every coincidence is a marker along the way. Sometimes it speaks gently, a book falling off the shelf, a conversation you overhear by chance. Other times it shouts through loss, new beginnings, or sudden endings. But even in the hardest moments, the collective unconscious keeps guiding you, pulling the invisible strings that shake you out of autopilot and back into alignment. The real question isn't whether the signs are there, it's are you willing to listen? If you want to deepen this listening, start where most people don't look, within. Meditate before bed and mentally ask, what am I not seeing that I need to? Then pay extra attention over the next 3 days. The answers might come in dreams, in passing conversations, or even in physical sensations. The body speaks, the soul speaks. And when you open yourself to that subtle communication, you realize that luck is just the word we use when we don't have the courage to admit something was meticulously orchestrated. But how do you live in this frequency intentionally? That's where the next key comes in. The greatest trap of our time is believing we're alone. With so much information, noise, and constant rush, we lose touch with what's subtle, but infinitely more powerful. The collective unconscious is still there, operating, revealing itself through symbols, dreams, and signs from the universe. But few are truly paying attention. The good news? It's absolutely possible to reconnect. It doesn't require secret rituals or advanced knowledge. It requires presence, awareness, and a willingness to listen to what can't be heard with your ears. It all begins with the simple habit of being still, because in silence, the invisible speaks the loudest. One of the most effective ways to access this collective field is by working with archetypes. Jung used them as tools to reach parts of the psyche that reason can't touch. You can, for instance, meditate on figures like the sage, the healer, or the warrior. Each one represents an energy pattern that already lives within you. Another transformative practice is intuitive writing. Sit down, breathe, close your eyes, and write freely without thinking. Let the unconscious lead. You'll be surprised by the answers that emerge. They're yours, but also from the whole. Also, pay special attention to your dreams. They're portals. Keep a journal by your bed and jot down whatever you remember upon waking, even if it makes no sense. Over time, patterns will emerge. And more than that, notice synchronicities. When something keeps repeating, ask, "What is this trying to show me?" Don't dismiss anything. The universe doesn't play dice, as Einstein once said. And if everything starts to feel a little too coincidental, maybe it's time to accept that you are, in fact, in constant dialogue with a collective intelligence. But the real question is, have you figured out what that intelligence is trying to tell you? So now tell me, after everything you've just heard, are you really still going to call it luck when it's clearly a calling? Are you still going to ignore the signs, the chills, the repeating patterns, as if they're just bodily reactions or random coincidences? Because if you've made it this far, it means some part of you already knows the collective unconscious has been speaking to you for a while. And the real question is, what are you going to do with that now? Will you keep living on autopilot or start learning to decode the signs that have been silently guiding you? Are you going to start writing down the signals that show up? Pay more attention to the dreams that feel like messages? Will you allow yourself to feel more and think less? Because when you begin to trust your intuition, everything shifts. You start living at a different pace, on a different frequency. And if you've ever had a moment that gave you full-body chills, drop it in the comments. What's the strongest coincidence you've ever experienced? The one that made you stop and think, this can't just be random. I want to hear your story. I want to know what the collective unconscious has already revealed to you. And if this video sparked something inside you, if it made sense on a deeper level, here's what to do. Hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with someone who also needs to understand that luck has nothing to do with it. Here, you'll keep learning how to read the invisible signs that guide your spiritual journey, because once you wake up, there's no going back to sleep.